So the next topic I want to talk to you guys about is a fight that was recently announced. And it's former lightweight interim champion Tony Ferguson versus former UFC lightweight champion Anthony Showtime Pettis. My first question is, why are these two fighting? Is there not enough talent in the UFC's lightweight division to structure something? This will tie into Dustin Poirier and Nate Diaz. Oh, you bet. In my honest opinion, this was the UFC's matchmakers' biggest blunder in a long, long time. Huge. You have Dustin versus Nate, which... why? Dustin Poirier doesn't have pay-per-view buying powers. He's not a main attraction. The reason why the Eddie Alvarez fights got him so much attention is because of Eddie Alvarez. The Underground King. Not Dustin. Who had the right idea of putting arguably your number 3 biggest sell piece? Number 1, Connor. Number 2 would be John Jones' return, in my opinion. Number 3, Nate Diaz. Against Dustin Poirier. Not even a former champion. UFC, what are you doing? What are you doing? When I saw that fight announcement, I was distraught. Because you have so many people in that division. It has the nastiest top 5. Not including Conor. May I add. That top 5 includes Khabib, Tony, Kevin Lee, Dustin, Eddie Alvarez, Justin Gaethje. That's 6 already. 7 if you include Conor. You have 7 monsters leading that pack. I'm not even talking about all the people who are up and coming in that division. I haven't even mentioned Anthony Pettis because in my opinion, Anthony Pettis isn't even a top 10 lightweight right now. Why should he be? Really, why should he be a top 10 fighter? What I would have done, knowing that Tony Ferguson is going to be coming back, because you bet your ass they knew. You bet your ass Tony made sure to tell them when he's coming back, to tell them when he would be clear, and to tell them when he's ready to take on a fight. What I would have done... Let me pause for a second, sorry. Let me just describe the greatness that is Tony Ferguson. He's coming off a win against Kevin Lee, who in my opinion is the number 3 best lightweight in the world. Kevin Lee. He's on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 fight winning streak, including former lightweight champion Rafael Dos Anjos, Kevin Lee, Edson Barboza, Gleison Tibau, Josh Thompson. I mean, monsters. Monsters. And he's fighting Anthony Pettis, who, let me compare you, last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Last 5 fights, 3 wins, 2 losses. Loss against Dustin, Max. Wins from Charles Oliveira, Jim Miller, Michael Chiesa. And before that win against Charles Oliveira, he has losses to Edson Barboza, losses to Alvarez, losses to Rafael Dos Anjos, 2 of which Tony Ferguson beat, 2 of which Tony Ferguson stopped, might I add. So let's just rethink why they did this. It's because they messed up with the Dustin Poirier and Nate Diaz. And they haven't even used Kevin Lee. Haven't even used him. Kevin Lee's coming off that win against Edson Barboza right now. I understand the UFC division stacked, especially the lightweight. Sorry, I understand the UFC's lightweight division stacked. But why not approach it like this? Okay, you got Khabib Conor. That's the right fight to make. But why not do Tony versus Nate Diaz? Or Nate Diaz versus Gaethje? That would sell. That would sell fights. Whereas I leave Dustin, winner of Conor versus Khabib, or against Kevin Lee. I don't think Dustin would have accepted a fight against Kevin Lee because I think Kevin Lee would have won by brutal murder and Dustin would have left the arena crying. But let Dustin have his opportunity against Khabib or Conor. Let Conor have his rematch if he beats Khabib, and let Khabib maul him if he beats Conor. Not a problem. Not a problem. But Anthony Pettis, after coming off a win against Michael Chiesa, give him James Vick. Do Anthony Pettis James Vick. Do Nate Tony. Do Dustin Gaethje. I mean, just not the two pairs that the UFC came up with. And that was a big blunder. Because what happens if Dustin wins? All you do if Dustin beats Nate is reduce Nate's stock, and Dustin gains nothing. He's not going to be more popular by beating Nate. No way. It's because Nate's not really a top 5 fighter. He is advertised as a top 5 fighter. Rightfully so. As he should be. But he's not a top 5 fighter. He is not a top 5 fighter. So all you do really is a loss for the UFC. But if you had Nate Tony, well, if Tony beats Nate, Nate's stock doesn't lose because, well, he lost to Tony Ferguson, the guy who was supposed to fight Khabib to really establish who rules the lightweight division. And you just increase Tony's stock because now Tony's back. Because now Tony is back, ladies and gentlemen. And you knew that fight was going to be a war. You have two longer reach fighters, both unorthodox, both ground jiu-jitsu specialists going at it. But no, you got Anthony Showtime Pettis, which, I mean, I was a huge Pettis fan. I enjoyed his wins against Benson Henderson. I enjoyed his classic higher real moves, but his poor showing in featherweight and his poor performance in lightweight just left me with a sour taste that he's more of a gatekeeper now. He's more of a lower tier top 10 fighter. Him versus James Vick would have been interesting. Would have seen how James Vick came back. Him versus Justin Gaethje would have just been another piece of meat to Gaethje really take out on. But Tony beats Pettis by submission. Dustin beats Nate by decision. And if Nate beats Dustin, I mean, what does that do? You're not going to see Nate fight for another year minimum. He might be approaching the end of his career. And you know how much it costs to pay Nate, right? He isn't one of your cheaper end fighters. He doesn't fight for under $250,000. I don't even think Nate's going to fight for under $1 million. Let alone $250,000. What am I thinking?